Yeah, let's start with the introduction of the team, team, and then we start with
Yes.
the event. So, Lobby, wanna
Yes.
start?
Now you're passing it on to
I could start, but okay.
go
I
on.
was a part. I'm. My name is Alistair. I'm from Bolivia,
Hi, Abby.
and I'm actually a participant from Volume One. Volume One. And Lovey and Jay were kind enough to invite me to participate as part of the organization committee. So now I'm here.
I can concur to the story of Ali in the sense that I was also just a participant of the first UNOT, the Echoes edition, and or volumes. I can't recall the names precisely, but I popped a question to Idg and Lavi, whether there's going to be like a second part or whether there's going to be a sequel, and that's the way I stumbled or kind of rolled into the organization, so to speak. So yes, that's the life story.
Okay. So, hi everyone. I'm Lavi. Thank you for joining us, to all the participants and the audience. And me and Jay are the I don't know how to call them, but the founders, let's say, of Volumes. So it's an art collaboration, and we started just last year because of CADES, I think, and other things. And we had our first open mic last December, and it was about inquiry. Basically, it's about poetry, music, film, all kinds of expressions. And yes,
Yes. Hello, everyone. My name is Jay, and I'm the other half of Lovey during the first collaborator. Yes. Janine, watch out. Yes, we started Unod Volumes as a form of like search for meaning making, like, asking questions and, talking with people or expressing yourself. So, yeah, we were very happy about the results of Volume 1. And actually, some of the artists who are with us this afternoon were part of Volume 1. And we are very happy for their patronage, that they're still supporting our events. Thank you very much. And of course, very much and warm welcome to our new set of artists, not only based here in Belgium, but from around the world. Yes.
and
So,
yes, another common thing about all of us, the organizers, is we are part of the same program now. We're studying the same program, so that's why we combined our powers to do this. Okay. Hi, Faye, it's me. And now we've organized this second volume, I mean, because of the current pandemic. I think mainly also to make sense of what's happening, because it doesn't make sense sometimes,
Sometimes.
or the entire time. We're all trying to make sense. And because of that, we invited someone from the Philippines who is doing this initiative to help people who are daily wage earners. And yes, Vanya, are you here?
Yes, I'm here.
Hello,
Hello.
Vanya. Hello. Okay, maybe you can talk more about your initiative.
Hi.
Hello.
Okay, so hi, I'm Vanya. Thank you again for including me today. I feel so overwhelmed that we even got your support from Belgium. So, a couple of weeks ago, we made a Facebook group to help daily wage earners in the Philippines because they're on leave, or others are on furlough, or others are have been laid off because of the current situation. With that one, we created this group called Tulong para sa Arawan ng Sahod, which in English means we're helping Filipinos who are daily wage earners. In this group, you send out direct donations to recipients. So, meaning each person who needs help can actually post through the group. They just have to include their situation. They have to send some IDs for us to verify their names and all the documents that are needed. But basically, it's really a group wherein people can help others directly with them person, which is the common cash transfer available in the Philippines right now. Overseas donors usually send their donations through PayPal, or others would use Remitly as well. But basically, this we have helped already around 700 people over the last few weeks. It's a bit slower than other groups because we verify each person and we make sure that they really need help. So that's it. So thank you very much, everyone, and hello from the Philippines.
Thank you, Vanya.
Thank you.
Right. So I mean, if anyone is interested to maybe support this initiative, you can maybe send her a message or send us a message. So okay. Shall we start with our performers?
No.
Yes. Yes. Everyone ready to do that? Okay. So
Hell yeah.
our first artist is Janine.
Hi. Hi, guys.
So she was also part of the first volume, which is Inquiry, and yes, very phenomenal, phenomenal art.
Oh
And
my God.
can you say something about yourself?
Yes. Hi, I'm Janine. I'm a PhD student from the anthropology department, and for this Unod Volume 2, I am not going to do anything phenomenal. So lower your expectations. But so together with my friends, we did some sort of experimental video documentary kind of thing, which gives you a glimpse of how it is to how we are actually trying to survive this pandemic through our own ways of caring for each other or through our own Filipino humor as international students who were really longing to see each other or longing to go home and be with their families but can't. So yeah, so I hope that even if it's in our language, with a bit of subtitling, I really hope that it will be relatable to you guys as well, and it's a bit long-ish compared to the other artworks, I think so. Please have patience, and yeah, it's for everybody, especially friends who are going through this in a very, very tough time. There.
Thank you. Okay, I'll share this now. Thank you, Janine.
You're welcome.
Hi! Who is Leia Saloga? Yay! Wala na akong utang.
Ay, nako. Oh, isang linggo na lang, tapos babawasan na nila yung lockdown.
Oo nga. Isang linggo siya. Sumapit naman.
Kaya pa.
Hi!
Ayun na, pwede na
Ayun na, may matatalo na.
Pwede tayo maglaro.
Scribble na naman. Scribble.
Wala,
Sabi namin, Jen.
magdi-dinner pa lang kayo, di ba?
Kaya nga, magluluto pa lang si Nording.
Jeopardy.
Jen, ako hindi na kami yan. Marami sa bayan namin natin yung couples for
Di ba, no? Tapos sisendan ka ng mga prayer ngayon against COVID. Gano'n.
Pwede bang couples for Christ kahit hindi pa kasal? Yung boyfriend-girlfriend?
Oo. Pwede kasama yun.
Pwede nga.
Siyempre, tuturo sa inyo, huwag kayong mag-sex bago ikasal.
Siguro.
Mga ganon.
Siguro.
Pero merong di ba? Kasi may Youth for Christ. Hindi ako sure kung may Singles for Christ.
Meron, may Singles for Christ.
Meron na?
Oo, meron.
Wala. Ginagawa pa lang mating ano lang pala yun.
Oo, pumupunta ng Singles for Christ para next time couples for Christ na kayo.
Alam mo, kapag nakahanap ka ng true love, wala nang kwenta kung mataba ka, mapayat ka, kung maganda
Kung punyeta ka, ikaw nga, dinidiktahan mo si Nordy na kailangan sexy pa din siya.
Ganun talaga. Kasi papunta pa lang kami dun sa true love, yung magkakatanda.
Gago pa po, kasal na kayo, tsaka pala magto-true love? Ano to? Lokohan?
Talaga. It's a lifetime evolution ng love. Nag-e-evolve. Bakit? Nag-e-evolve yan. So,
ano to,
papunta pa lang
Pokemon?
kami dun sa, syempre, nagka-inlaban kayo, quote and quote. Parang, sobrang ideal nyo pa, bata pa kayo, sexy pa kayo, ganyan. Kapag tumatanda na kayo, mag-iiba-iba yan, syempre. Hanggang dumating kayo sa true love, na yung pareho na kayong pangit, tanggap nyo pa rin yung satsa. Yun na ang true love.
So, ayaw mo ng true love, ganun ba?
Hindi pa sa ngayon, parang mag-evolve pa going to true love. So, halimbawa, biglang napanood si Nordin, siguro, iiwan ko na siya.
Gago.
Nakapag-Portugal ka na ba?
Hindi pa. Gusto ko
Yun yung masarap puntahan. Nakita ko yung mga picture ni Evan sa Portugal. Oo. Parang masaya, mura lang, tapos maganda.
Oo, mura lang.
Dapat
Ano
kumain
kaya tayo makakalabas ng Belgium?
So, para mag-ikot. Dati nung sinusulatan ko yung tatay ko, nilalagay ko yung Japan. Just always pray at night.
Ang dami.
Nakita ko yung kinokolekta ng tatay ko yung lahat ng sulat namin ng mga bata. Nakita na.
Ang sweet.
Tapos yung mga sulat lahat mga gustong padala padala mo ko ng Super Nintendo.
Nasaan ang tatay mo?
Nasa Germany tatay.
Kaingit! Ano ba yan? Never ako nagkaroon ng ganyan tatay.
Rich kid.
Hindi. Hirap kaya kami, wala ng trabaho tatay ko.
Pero makapag-German.
Dahil kami nasa college.
Yung tatay ko, nung lumakas yung negosyo, dun siya sumama, dun siya nag-house.
Tatay ko din. Tatay ko simple lang yung duri mo, lumaki kami sa palengke ha. Tapos nung nagkaroon na siya ng maraming pera, doon na siya nagloko.
Correct. Kaya yung nanay ko, sabi niya, mas gusto niya pa yung tatay ko na hindi masyadong successful. But siya na lang yung successful.
Sumasama ugali. Sabi ng nanay ko, tingnan yung tatay mo, kung kailan yumaman, gano'n. Ganon yung linya ng nanay ko lagi. Tsaka tayo yung kinalimutan.
Sa palagay mo ba, tamang gawain yun?
Na ano?
Na ma-realize mo yung isang bagay, yung importansya ng isang bagay habang kapag tumatanda ka na lang.
Hindi.
Ganun talaga.
Hindi, feeling ko hindi pa din. Hindi
pero,
dahil ganun talaga.
Hindi, pero human nature siya.
Oo, yun nga lang, human nature siya dahil naiisip mo na katapusan mo na. So, feeling mo, may bomba na nasasakbo, kaya gawin mo na yung tama. Pero hindi yun tama.
Oo, syempre naman.
Kaya maraming
Dapat
regrets.
Dapat iniisip mo ngayon. Pwede na siyang gawin ngayon agad-agad.
Kaya yung mga tao maraming regrets, yung mga ganyan mag-isip, yung mga pag matanda na lang, tsaka na lang sila tumitinog.
Oo.
May COVID na kaya sa North Korea? Wala siguro.
Meron daw.
May COVID sa North Korea, hindi ba nakikita yung stats? 1010.
Binary code lang pala.
1, Pag nagka-COVID ka, babariling ka eh. So, 1010. Ganun yung joke dun, di ba?
Yung pala eh. Parang yung kung joke nila rin, yung data daw sa ARMM, tumitingala lang daw sa kisame yung mga nurses.
Bakit?
Hindi, kasi parang laging, talaga, ito talaga yung number ng kaso. Parang laging daw.
Anyway, kasi...
Event ko lang. Putang ina, Sabado pa lang ngayon. Akala ko Biyernes lang.
Sabado.
Sabihin ko pa naman, ay Friday night.
Kahapon ng Friday night.
Friday night na pala tayo.
Friday? Nag-usap pa tayo kahapon?
Oo, haba natin. Ay, hindi. Naglaro most.
Naglaro tayo ng Scribble. Hanap tayo ba laro, dali?
Ano ba yung heart?
As interactive as Scribble, meron ko bang alam?
Hindi nga eh. Kasi pag...
Nahingit ako, nag-chips na rin. Walang kwenta yung salad.
Chips nga yung akin, tapos naisip ko parang unhealthy.
Nagsalad pa tayo. Ano sabihin ko?
Nagsalad pa, tapos chips mamay.
Kailan kaya sasang-ay yung universe sa akin?
Sa atin.
Sa atin.
Gusto ko nung bisitahin kayo sa Lupit.
Tara, sa May 4.
Sa May 4. Feeling ko ang weird ng feeling. Parang yung feeling. Like, parang nung na-meet ko si Alan, si Pao. Sabi ko, weird. Kita na kita. Magkasama na tayo. Ang weird ng feeling.
Oo. Feeling ko ako rin magte-take ng time na mag-adjust, makipag-socialize. Parang ganun.
Feeling ko.
Negative ka na, Alan. Negative 500 si Alan.
Ako diba? Ako na diba?
Ikaw na, Jen.
Hindi.
Alam ko sagot eh.
What is Korean?
Tama si Jen. Nalaro nyo natin Korean.
Galing ko.
Magaling nga.
Kaya naman tayo pa naman sa Korean.
Sabay-sabay sa screen.
Gulo kasi paano yung sabay-sabay sa screen? Sinong mag-judge?
Wala na, Scribble na tayo. Isasend ko na yung link.
Tapos
Okay.
meron pa natira eh, di ba?
Wala na, link na.
Wala na ba?
I will join them.
Yay! All the Filipinos relate so much. Filipinos relate a lot.
That's what we do every day. It's not easy, but we get by.
No, but yeah, it's for everyone, I think. But, okay.
Josh,
Who is
no, I'm in an event. Like an online event.
Can everyone mute their audio because someone is...
Oh no. Next time.
I will mute everyone, and then if you're talking, then you have to.
My problem. What will I pick?
Whoever is. This is kind of fun, actually.
What were you doing in an outdoor?
Wait.
Okay.
Sorry, I will unmute everyone again. No, I will mute everyone, and then if you're supposed to speak, turn on your audio. Okay.
Or you can raise your hand. That's also possible.
Yes. And we have a chat box as well. So if you have like questions, you can write there. Yes.
Okay. So wait. Okay.
Yes.
Okay. Thank you, Janine, again. Moving on to the next artist is Steph. Hi, Steph. Are you there?
Hello. Yes, I'm here.
So Steph is a poet, a writer, a Reiki healer. What else?
Photographer.
Traveler, photographer.
Many
And,
things.
okay. She has a new book called Being.
Yes.
It's just recently released, right?
Yeah.
Okay. I'll give the floor to you and okay, go.
All right. How many minutes is 50 minutes, right? So I'll just keep pulling out some poems until you tell me to shut up. Then I can. Just kidding. So a little about the book that I wrote. It was published. I published it around December, a few months ago. The book is more of like a memoir on my own personal journey, my growth and self-development reflected onto what I've learned like in my life and everything that I've learned in my travels and from my own adversities and darkness. So it's kind of like emotions from like many different emotions coming from darkness to light and how we should embrace the full spectrum of the human experience. Hold on one second. And so I guess like because we are all technically alone for the most part during this pandemic, the topic that I wanted to explore was solitude and isolation and what that means for people and how it heals as well. So the poems that I'm going to share are around that topic. And to be honest, I probably only written like a couple poems about the pandemic. But most of the ones about solitude that I'm going to pull out is from the book itself. So I'm just gonna go and get started. This first one, I wrote it a few weeks ago. I was trying to make sense of what was going on. And, you know, people have their 100 million different theories on what's happening, but to cope with it, I wanted to see it in the perspective that nature somehow made this all happen. Like for me, it was easier to cope with that way because she needed a lot of rest, and also people need a lot of healing during this time. And in a way, it was for me like I felt like it was our own planet and humanity's way of healing itself unknowingly. So this one, I just call it nature. What if nature needed a break from the pain? What if she was desperately tired of humanity's old and toxic ways? And there's only one dire way she could do for them to change. So she sent all her children to isolation, even if it meant making some of them ill, and forced them all to look within, so that the poison stops pumping her veins. And while the rivers washed it all clean, and the ocean breathed easier, and the animals roamed free, and the air replenished itself, even politicians were forced to face the consequences of their actions, and this made them change their ways. And the metal machines stopped polluting the air, and for the first time in a long time, the world returned to silence. And nature grew over its wounds, and humans became better humans to themselves and to each other. And they stopped pretending to be robots. And they were able to let themselves rest. And they were able to let themselves feel and heal. And they didn't have somewhere or someone to be. And they looked inside themselves. And they all met their souls. And through their separation, they came together. And through their isolation, they learned they were never really alone. So what if nature threw in chaos to send us back home to peace? And of course, like we can't really disregard how much suffering and grief that we're all going through right now. So some people, I hope that you don't see it as like a toxic positivity type poem. It's more of just like, I guess, yeah, seeing the lighter side of things. And as much as, like, I totally believe that we have to acknowledge what we're feeling in the moment. If we're feeling grief or fear, then we can sit with it. But I think, how long do we want to sit with that? And how long will we let that affect us? All right, so for the next one, I'm just going to pull some things out. And so for my book, there's 5 different chapters. The first chapter is darkness. Second chapter is awakening, loving, searching, then being. I'm pulling this one from the darkness chapter, which talks about depression, trauma, and just like a really heavy part of our emotions that most people don't really acknowledge or most people suppress. And I feel like in order for us to truly find some kind of real peace in our lives, we have to face our shadows and our darkness. And I'll pick one of the lighter ones because there's a lot of heavy ones here. So we'll begin with this for the darkness chapter. You do not have to feed the weight of your mind. You do not have to let phantom words hold your eyelids up until dawn. You do not have to let broken scenes creep under your flesh like the dead of winter. And you do not have to polish your mind with the spit of an old sense of self. You do not have to walk with feet chained with pitch black eyes, and you do not have to nest under gray clouds. Surrender to the light. Let it trace the warmth of your skin. Every trouble has somewhere else to shroud. Like the wind has things to lead, and the water things to wash, and the sky suns to rise. And this next one is called Solitude. I met my solitude one day. I thought she looked frightening, yet she looked calm. I thought she was darkness, yet she was light. I thought she was the end of me, yet she began me. I thought she'd come like a storm, yet she was the sky. I fell in love with her, and we held hands, and we learned how to float over water, and we began again. And the next one, this one is called Cleanse Out. We must seek to cleanse out our thoughts. Brush it out of our hair like tooth combs, pluck it out of our scalp if we have to. Dry it out in the sun until it goes back to the clouds, and when it rains again, when it comes dripping down the back of your spine, before it becomes an emotion and you catch a cold from it, before it turns into a mental plague. Do something, do anything. Jump in the sea. Let the salt cleanse it. Let yourself empty your own head. Let it clean it again. Whatever is left over will be washed onto shore anyway. When you arrive back to dry land without a cloud in sight, although the sky may bring it back down again, and you'll probably have to do all of this over again tomorrow and the rest of your days. Yet still, not all is lost. Obviously, considering you can jump in the sea after lockdown is over and you're abiding by the laws. This one's called Sacredness to Everything. There is a sacredness to everything. If you wake up before the others to a sunrise that fills you up, keep it safe, keep it sacred. If you see something beautiful in a stranger, you find yourself lost in the synchronicity of rain, dripping from the roof after a downpour. If you cry at an empty hour, yet still somehow find grace in that, keep it, it's sacred, it's yours. If you lose your patience and you find it again within the same sun, and if you learn how to love without expectations, if if you can sit and watch a tree and have the patience to let it tell you a story. If you've forgiven the parts of yourself, turn the rough bits to bold tenderness. Keep it sacred. If you wandered heavy for far too long in dirt roads and thick waters, yet survived the mud, found yourself in sweet surrender with eyes as free as the sky. If you've learned to cherish simple moments that were once empty, and you've learned to be the narrator of your own story, keep it. It's sacred. It's yours. Lovey, are we going on time? Okay, I'm just gonna.
I'm just listening. Go for it.
What was that? Okay, just let me know, because I'll just keep on going until you tell me to stop.
Maybe 2 more poems.
2 more poems? Cool.
Yeah.
All right, I'm gonna pick the last 2. So, this one is called You Choose Yourself. How do you love yourself? Perhaps when you are finally holy, perhaps when you are finally worth something, or perhaps it is a process of coming back into the bits of yourself that you had abandoned, putting it to bed one by one every night like children. How can you love yourself if you do not love the empty pieces of you? You cannot calm your own screams. You cannot survive the 877 pounds of weight your mind drops on you at night, at the airport, in the shower, in a cul-de-sac. If you cannot survive being swallowed by your thoughts, if you cannot look at the mirror without judgment, then you'll have to try anyway. And you'll choose to survive your own wars daily. And you choose yourself. You love yourself. You want more to love, but you'll have to love whatever is there. So start with your skeletons. That is how. And for the last one, and if you're in the and if you're in the dark, the gray, the soft lighting, the sharp sun, wherever you are, you know that moments will come when you have to rub your eyes and pinch your own flesh, because gratitude has taken over your entire body for every single emotion you have ever held, and all you can do is lay down with tears in your eyes, with a smile sticking to your face, and stare at your life, our life, this wild, beautiful mess that we cannot let go. Do you feel it? The stars are watching over us. Oh, do you feel it? We are exactly where we need to be. The stars are watching over us. How lucky are we? And that's it.
Thank you. I can't recover.
Thank you.
Thank you, Steph. Do you want to say anything more, like how to get?
Oh, I'm still on. Sorry, what was that last part?
Do you want to say anything, like how to get your book, maybe, or how to reach you?
Oh, yes. Yes. So you could go on Amazon and book search Being by Stephanie Dandan. I'm also on Instagram at Stephanie Satori. And yeah, and I know some people are not too keen on buying from Amazon. So if there's, if I find another way to release it, then I'll let you know if you're curious. Yeah, I think that's it.
Okay. Thank you, Steph.
Thank you.
Right. So next is Joanne. Joanne, are you there?
Yeah. Hi, everyone.
Okay.
Okay.
Can you tell us more about yourself?
Okay. I am Joanne, and I'm currently living here in Leuven. I've also taken up cultural anthropology and development studies, same with Jay, Ali, and Lovi. Actually, before I was just an audience of the volume 1, the UNED volume 1, and now I decided to join because it was inspiring, and I feel like this is a good way to express oneself and to also see other people and share share the feelings and emotions that we currently have in this difficult time. Yeah. So for my poems, actually, the first 3 poems that I will be reading is with Bernard. Bernard is Bernard, are you there? Bernard?
I think I'm here.
Okay, great. Okay, Bernard is a very good friend of mine, and we actually became close when we conducted a field work just this last semester, and we started sharing poems. The first time he wrote the poem in Unod Volume 1, I was actually not there. I went to the toilet when when he started reading his poem, and so I felt like it was just a waste that I didn't able to see. So I asked him to send me the copy of his poem, and then I feel like I need to respond to his poem, being close to him. So now we will be reading these poems, the exchange that we have during these past few months. Bernard, the floor is yours.
Okay, thank you. I think we're closer just before the seminar, not actually during the seminar, you know.
Oh yeah,
But yeah, the poem in question was my very first poem. I was attending the UNOT, and Jay and Lovey were like open mic, and I just like challenges, you know. So while I was sitting, I was trying to come up with something, but I had to really like go within to find words to like express, because I wanted to say something that is real. You know, it means flesh, so I wanted to give part of my flesh, and then I had to write based on the context in which I find myself as an African migrant in Europe, and equally someone who lives in Europe but who has to like communicate with Africans. So I'm like in between. So I entitled the poem "I Am Because I Am Not." I read, when I look behind me, I am not the same person. When I look ahead of me, I'm not going to be who you expect me to be. And right now, I don't know who I am. Who am I in this post-colonial world? Who am I in this world full of colors, wherein mine is always synonymous to avoid? Where my voice makes no noise and all my efforts end up in nothingness. Who am I when I'm a stranger home and just another Negro over here? Well, I am nothing. That's why I am. And as Fanon rightly puts it, I am not a potentiality. I am wholly who I am. And I don't need to seek for the universal. No possibility has any place in me. I am because I am not. Thank you. That was it. And then I sent it to Joanne, and she was like sad, like
Yeah,
you're somebody, and she decided to reply, and it was
yeah.
amazing.
Yeah,
Right.
it's a very sad poem for me. I didn't know that he was undergoing those emotions. So I felt like I need to say something to him. So I will read this poem. The title is "You Are Not Because You Are." When I look in front of me, I see an amazing person I thought I'd never meet. But he did not know who he is and who he could become. In this post-colonial world with full of colors, I see black shining brightly amongst yellows and whites. They said, black is the absence of light and color. But why is there a light emitting from within and glowing with colors more vividly than that of the rainbow? He said he was a stranger way back home, but he feels home to strangers like me. He is just another person over here, but another is a term just like you and me, and with each other, we are together. Well, he is something, that's what he is. As Firstin puts it, never be bullied into silence. Never allow yourself to be made a victim. Accept no one's definition of your life, but define yourself. Every possibility has all the place inside you. You are not because you are. Thank you. So yeah, that's the poem, the first poem that we had, and there was a follow through. he
Yeah,
replied
maybe
again.
I didn't plan for the reply. Should I really?
I don't know.
I thought it was push. The reply, shit, it's getting too deep now, Joe. Let me find it. Oh, like I am because of you, right?
Yeah.
That's the reply, right?
Yeah, you're
Oh,
right.
I didn't plan for this, but let me just go.
Okay.
Can I?
Go, Bernard.
I am because of you, because she was so good, so I had to like. An African proverb says, "Sorrow is like a hidden treasure shown only to a true friend." Many have shared honey, milk, and beer with me, but since I met you, I realized they have never shared. It is in the chemistry between us that I gave what's most dear to me, my person. You brought me out of silence, and now I speak without saying anything. In my flight from the hurricanes of life, I found you in a quiet place, and just sitting down with you gave me an appearance of a rainbow after the storm, illuminated by your honest gaze. And now I am encapsulated in a wilderness of faith and belief. It's true, we have different colors, but love and words are colorless. Your words, like seeds, were planted on my sterile heart, yet against all odds, they germinated and gave me life. I am because of you. That was
Okay.
it.
Yeah. So once again, I was touched with his poem. I was touched with his poem, so I replied. He said he is because of me, but I think he is because of him. So this next poem is entitled "You Are Because of You." In Philippine context, true friends are cherished treasures who share sorrows together. Many have shared love, laughter, and friendship with me. When I met you, I feel like sharing them with you. Chemistry is what I am worst at, but our friendship is like physics to me. All interactions in the universe are governed by four fundamental forces, like how we gravitated to each other and how the electric currents rushed through my skin when you start to utter profound ideas which emanated strong force from you, weakening my knees with utmost admiration. I usually say anything as the thoughts in my mind go wild like hurricane, but I found myself in silence while sitting with you. You start to fill my eyes with galaxy illuminating from your sincere yet fragile heart. Your gaze deformed the reality of our space and time and brought me into the black hole that made it impossible for me to escape. And now in this wilderness, I am encapsulated with faith and belief. Your existence, like a seed, grew beautifully against all odds and sprinkled life to solitary hearts. You are because of you. Thank you. Yeah.
Thank you. You see, she's so good. She's so generous to me. And actually, during our first field work, we didn't actually do field work. We just went and sat at McDonald's and we were just like talking to each other. But then I realized like we all have like existential worries, like burdens. So Joanne was like going through like difficult moments. So I decided to talk to her in by writing to her a poem. I entitled Push. Like no matter what goes on, no matter how hard it gets, we're in a pandemic equally, we have to push. So I entitled the poem Push. I sent it to her. It's like push Push, push. From the beginning, along the way, to the limit, beyond your strength. Push, push. In tears, with fears. Alone, together, with nothing. In pain, with shame and stain. With regrets, in disgrace. Push, push. In darkness or in daylight, rainy or snowy, cloudy or gloomy, in hope or in despair, don't despair. Push, push. Joanne,
Yeah.
push.
So yeah, he gave me a poem of comfort and asking me to push. But that time I was really not feeling well, so I replied another poem also entitled "Push." So I'll be reading it right now. Push. My body does not know the term rest. My mind does not recognize the word stop. Both my body and my mind have been working nonstop. I thought that this would ignite my soul to spark. I pushed and pushed and pushed and pushed. I kept on pushing until I drained all my energy. I kept on pushing until my body wore out. I kept on pushing until I bled. I thought that pushing fast means reaching far. I believed that pushing strong means aiming high. But pushing beyond limits make you exhausted, leaving you with inadequate distance and height. So please, please stop telling me to push even more. I already used up everything I got. I have nothing left inside me. So could you just pull me back and tell me it's more than enough? So that's my reply to his push. Yeah. Anything you want to say, Bernard, before I
But
proceed with
you
my
kept on pushing though.
what?
You pushed though. You pushed. So thank you for pushing though.
Yeah, yeah, I try, but it gets exhausting
Yeah.
at times. So
Yeah.
I will proceed to my last poem. It's actually related to the
See
pandemic.
you later.
So I'll give the floor to you later, Bernard. For now, let me get the spotlight.
Okay.
I'm just kidding. So this next poem is about the pandemic. So I'll just read it now. The title is The Unseen. The unseen emphasized our arrogance when it proved us that we do not take control of everything. The unseen showed us the importance of freedom when we chose to lock ourselves in. The unseen let us rest from our exhausting routine when it pressed us to be stationary. The unseen wrecked our individuality when isolation challenged our sanity. The unseen showed how vulnerable life is when it crumbled our plans and brought uncertainties. The unseen reminded how lucky we are when delicious food flooded our social media page. The unseen pulled us away from the monotony of life when we discovered new skill sets that we never knew. The unseen revived the dying nature when it gave time for species to recuperate from human destruction. The unseen reminded us of the serenity of the ocean when we wished to hear the waves and touch the sand with our hands. The unseen reminded us of the seasons when we craved to see the beauty of spring. The unseen made us appreciate our life journey when it brought back our memories of the past. The unseen highlighted the beauty of the world when we realized that our pictures do not give justice to its wonders. The unseen struck down our walls when we started to reach out to others. The unseen turned house into a home when it strengthened the bond of family members. The unseen softened our selfishness and greed when it encouraged us to be considerate of others. The unseen redefined presence, when virtual company gave much comfort. The unseen made us appreciate simple things, when someone's laughter can make us smile. The unseen brought out the human in us, when unfamiliar emotions began to be felt. The unseen formed our solidarity, when we decided to offer help to total strangers. The unseen redefined distance, when miles even brought us closer. The unseen gave us the opportunity to build relationships, when we started spending time with our family and friends. The unseen opened and cleared our eyes, when we became blinded by clutter and chaos. The unseen highlighted what should be valued, when it took our loved ones away. The unseen showed us the value of time, when we lost someone in a blink of an eye. The unseen made us treasure our lives, when it proved that it can be taken away anytime. The unseen brought out the worst in us, yet it showed us our true potential and capabilities. I wonder if this is the curse of COVID-19, or is this a gift from the unseen? Thank you.
Thank you, Jo and Bernard. Yes, the power of poetry. Yes, who's next, guys? I don't know.
Oh, sorry, my turn.
Oh, it's your turn.
Yeah. Well, coming up next on our UNOT, we're gonna travel now. We're gonna go to South America and to a very special place for me personally. But our next participant, he's coming, joining us from Bolivia, from La Paz, Bolivia. He's worked mostly with 2D animation, teaching real animation. He's a storyboard artist and a political cartoonist. And on a personal note, he's someone I known all of my life. He's someone I really looked up to as an artist, but also as a person. So please give you a warm welcome to Mike Mealla, and I'll give him the floor, or should I say, rather, the screen to him. Welcome, Mike.
Thank you, Ali. Nice words. Hello, everybody. Greetings from South America, from sunny South America, and lockdown South America as well. Can you hear me, everybody? Yes?
Yes.
Oh, cool. So, well, to give a little bit of context, in Bolivia, we've been living like two historical events, like massive events. Last year, our former president quit and escaped Bolivia. It was a 14 years regimen that it was insanely corrupt. So the last days of November were kind of crazy, and we were like protecting ourselves against terrorists, and it was weird. So after that, when we were trying to stand up again and trying to get back to normal, this COVID-19 came. So I'm going to show you my personal appreciations through drawing, because I'm a cartoonist as well. And it's like a graphic journal that I've been doing in between my free time, because I'm also have to work. So I'm going to share my screen and let me know if it's showing. No. Can you see it? Yes? Okay, great. So here I am, I'm Miguel. And yes, I like to do that sometimes just to relax. But again, as I was saying, oh, sorry. This is kind of a drawing that represents that changing, like asking for this guy to quit and leave power, and then being happy so we can be able to work again, and then something happens, and we have COVID-19 waving and saying, hello. So it's like, oh, again, that's not nice. Again, there was some similar situations, like for example, phone companies, they don't, they, they always want you to pay because they want to integrate people, but you have to pay. So in this drawing, for example, it was in November, and actually happened to me that I completely forgot to pay my bill. And the phone company called me and said, you have to pay your bill. So I had to go out, and I have to protect myself with boots and an improvised helmet and go and be aware of the situation. And then in March, again, the same situation happened. So I was like, okay, I have to go out. But again, I changed my costume in order to protect myself against this possible COVID-19. But the good thing about this lockdown is that the earth started breathing. So I make this drawing and saying, okay, this is helping the earth, and also my work is getting like lots of views. So I'm going to make this little drawing where the sun says to the earth, I see you much better now. And this drawing just went crazy, massively viral, and it was all over the place. I was amazed about this situation, but it's interesting how we can, with little things, we can say actually what's going on. But the situation in Bolivia wasn't that hard at that moment. But then there was this presidential announcement that said, okay, you're in full lockdown now, sorry. And my first reaction was to go to my window, and there's a very interesting and popular street food, night street food here, which is sausages and chips, and it's a fried thing with sauces and all that, and it's very local. And yeah, I kind of make this drawing saying, okay, I'll see you in 3 weeks, because that was the announcement. Now you're going to be in lockdown for 3 weeks. So I made that saying, goodbye, salchipapas, which is the name of this street food. And then news started to emerge, like local engineers and students here in Bolivia started making like breathing machines, like developing some homemade technology that is going to help to Bolivia, because we don't have a health system or a proper health system. And people started like creating stuff in order to help others. And that was kind of amazing. And I felt like kind of moved about that situation. But my biggest accomplishment at that point was to shave my face, because I had kind of a long beard and I was quite proud of myself. Not helping Bolivia, but helping myself. Interesting situation indeed. But then all the doctors started working like really hard, because there started to be some cases in Bolivia, and that was kind of scary. And this little guy that you see with the flag, it's a character that I created when Evo Morales was trying to stick to power, and there was these attacks and all that thing. And it became very popular, like a symbol of democracy, actually. It was kind of interesting as well. So I used this character in order to motivate all the health workers, because they are doing a really incredible, tough job. So let's give some motivation to these people. And actually, it went viral as well and helped others, not only doctors from Bolivia, but in other places as well, which was really nice. But then we have to thank other people as well, the army, the police, the cleaning people, the firefighters, and the people that are selling food. And actually I made this drawing as well to thank and to motivate these people and to give them like a push, because they are doing a really hard job. And it also went everywhere. But then it was time to go out, because we are allowed to go out once a week according to our ID number. And my day is Tuesday. And I was really, really, really happy to go outside, because I was in lockdown for a week or 2 weeks, and I was like desperate to go out. And I went just dancing through the streets. Everybody was looking at me like a crazy guy, but I was so happy. And I went, did my little shopping, and came back home dancing as well. And it was amazing. And also I had to eat, and I made a nice burger. It was okay. It was fun. I really enjoyed that burger, to be honest. But also being a freelancer, you don't have much time to dedicate to yourself. And taking advantage of the lockdown, I just took some holidays. And I said to all my clients, to all my people, I'm on holidays, back off. I don't really want to know. And I really enjoyed my holidays, to be honest. It was peaceful. My phone wasn't ringing, no messages. Oh, it was amazing. Just 2 weeks of pure peace. But then it was again going out to make some shopping. And here is an interesting comparison because the first day I went out, people were crazy. It was kind of a apocalyptic thing to watch. People were dressed up and religious people were screaming, and you can see many things. But the first thing that actually runs out in the supermarkets, I don't know if you noticed, are tomatoes. I don't know why. And my first thing that I wanted to buy was tomatoes. And I went there to the supermarket, and I have this little problem that I always had. I cannot open these plastic bags from the supermarkets where you put your groceries and stuff. I always have that problem. So I went there and I was trying to open this little bag, and yeah, I was struggling, and we ran out of tomatoes, and it was frustrating. The next week I went there, and yes, there was lots of tomatoes. So yeah, I've done it. But then again, that freaking bag, I couldn't open it. So it was a bit frustrating. But then in my leisure time, I like to play video games from time to time. But that is kind of distracting for me because I forget to do important things like put out the laundry. And this happened like 2 or 3 days. My clothes were in the washing machine, and I kept forgetting that I had to take it out in order to dry. And I realized that when I ran out of clean clothes. It was, yeah, gaming situations, distractions, and again, shopping day. And I went happy as always, happy to see tomatoes. And someone recommended to me to take my own bags. Uh, So it was a nice advice. I went to the shop, I reached the tomatoes, and I completely forgot about my plastic bags that I left in my house. So I had to confront this thing again and again, and I saw this plastic thing saying, "Hello, I'm here. You miss me," kind of thing. But then, okay, I did a lot of groceries and went back home. And one thing that is interesting with me is I don't like fruit at all. But then I bought a bunch of bananas because I wanted some juice. And I discovered this thing, I don't know what's the name in English, but it was there and around my house, and I tried it and it worked. So I said, let's make some juice. And I did like a lot of juice. That day. Basically, that was my meal for the whole day. It was going to be thrown away otherwise. So I said, yeah, I'm bored. I don't have nothing to do. Let's make some juice. And it was kind of a nice experience. Then here, at least in Bolivia, we're forced that we have to go out with these masks and also gloves. We cannot go outside without those. And for a strange reason, I bought a mask that was, I don't know, had a life of its own. And I was walking, and this thing was going up my face all the time. And it was kind of annoying because I didn't want to touch it with my hands or with the gloves because I was paranoid with this COVID thing. So I started using my mouth. So I was walking while singing, and this mask went up, and I was like trying to develop some techniques in order to put it on place. And I started like doing like with my mouth. So everybody was kind of laughing at myself, but I was trying to struggle with this in order to see where I was going. So it was, yeah, a little anecdotes that happen while you're on the streets. But then again, it was like a personal mission to open those bags because I was tired of going to the supermarket over and over and over and having the same problems. I started to train myself and meditate and do some exercises in order to win that bag because the bag, it wasn't going to win. So yes, I was like practicing a lot. Among that, in that therapy that I was doing while training for that back, I started to meditate a lot and remove some memories and some stuff that I need that didn't need it anymore in my life, like bad things, bad memories, because I was a firefighter, so I have post-traumatic stress, I have a very heavy one. So I said, yeah, I don't need this in my life anymore. So I started cleaning my head, and it was awesome. And that helped me a lot as well. And that finally came the day that I went to the supermarket. I saw the plastic bag, and it was a very tense moment, but I made it. I made it. I opened the plastic bag, and I started jumping and being very happy. And then I realized that there wasn't any more tomatoes. So it was kind of frustrating, that thing. But anyway, life has to go on. And then we were supposed to be like free around this week, but there was another announcement from the president saying we have 2 more weeks of lockdown. So I had to take it in a positive way, and that meant that I have more time to practice with my plastic bags. So yeah, that has been my lockdown in Bolivia, trying to learn how to open plastic bags. Yeah, thank you for listening, and yeah, I think I've been very brief, but thank you anyway, and thank you for everything.
Thank you. Thanks, Mike. That was really good. Trying to see the positive side in all this situation. But thank you for that. Moving on, coming up next, we're gonna take another flight, and we're gonna go to the UK. We're gonna go to London to visit a friend of mine. I actually met her 5 years ago. I had the joy to work with her, and I've also was very lucky to see you transform in these 5 years and become a writer, a journalist, and a poet. And it's really, I feel really lucky to have been part of this journey and to continue become the amazing person you are. And yeah, I proudly present Ella Sadie.
Hello. Oh wow, what an introduction. I don't quite know what to do with myself now. I'm blushing. Hello everybody. My name's Ella, and I am, as Ali described, a writer, journalist, and poet. I started doing poetry about 3-4 years ago. When I was writing a lot anyway, journaling, wrote a lot of personal essays as well, and I went to see a spoken word performer called Cecilia Knapp, and I saw her, and it changed my life. It made me want to start writing poetry. It made me realize that poetry is so much more than just the things that you learn about in school. I also work in events in London and the UK, and at this time I would usually be setting off to go and do the first festival of the season. However, unfortunately, due to current lockdown situation, festival season 2020 has been completely postponed until 2021. But saying that, which is a shame because I had loads of great things lined up and loads of jobs. I was going to Glastonbury and Red Rooster and all of these other festivals, and going to go and perform at some festivals. But unfortunately, that's no longer the case. However, it does mean that instead of running around all the time, which is what I do normally, and usually in the summer I'm barely ever at home, and I'm always going from one place to the next place and being very nomadic. It's actually given me some time to stay in one place for a while and give myself a bit more care and routine and write a lot. I've probably done more writing in a month than I've ever done in my life, which is saying something, and quite nice. And also April was National Poetry Writing Month, which is for the whole of April, lots of poets try and write a poem a day based on different things, different prompts, could be whatever you want, and try and support each other and have a community of people writing. And this is the first year I've actually managed to do it because I've not been running around. So in the interest of sharing some things with you, I'm going to share a poem that I wrote the other day from my time in isolation. And I'm also going to share with you something else. So I will do this one and then I will share another one and I'll explain that when I do this. But this one is called I Can't Forget, and it was based on a prompt for NaPoWriMo, National Poetry Writing Month. Roses and rose petals lying on the pavement after being stamped on, and the smell of freshly baked bread. Smells in general. Nostalgia, reminisce. But mere hours ago, a mystery. I can't forget because I can't remember. Little pieces slip through me like a silkworm, unable to do its duty. I grasp at silvers in a pensive, and they escape me like snakes laughing at my misfortune. But I can't forget the way that fear tastes as it shoots into my mouth like a surprise molten inner of an envelope, a jack in the box to bring me back to the present. I can't forget the way your face looked, and the distinct colour of the sea that day as I looked at it with blurry eyes, and the way my heart felt. I can still feel it now. That's one. And whilst in isolation, I've managed to create quite a lot of new projects with friends of mine who are usually always busy. So my friend Luke is a videographer, a very talented one, and for about a year we've been trying to write something together and put a project together. But because he's so busy and I'm so busy, we just haven't been able to sit down and do it. But now that the only thing we're able to do is sit down and do it, we have come up with a whole short film idea and project. And I'm writing a poem to go over the top as a script. And the poem is it's kind of a narrative and a storyline that flows through from someone narrating being alone in the time of Corona, and then also linking that to being heartbroken or leaving a relationship, and the two being feelings that are kind of mutually exclusive, and also how to move through that as well. So it's kind of got a duality to the poem, and it's currently a work in progress. So I'm sharing a unfinished piece. So if you like it, let me know. And if you think I could change some stuff, let me know. So this is a part of that script. And it's called Desolate. The work in progress title is Desolate. The streets are familiar, but they don't bustle anymore. Deserted, I feel like writing a love letter to them. The kind of love letter a forlorn lover betrothed to a soldier waiting for his time to be shot going over the breach would write. Well within her knowledge, he'd never see it. Maybe this love letter could be the cure to a forgotten era. A touch in the dark. Knowing we may never touch each other again, how far away 2 meters feels when a smile can't stretch enough to wrap arms around a shivering shoulder, cold from crying. I watch from my window at couples jogging in tandem. My chin rests on my knuckles as my eyes glisten with the memories of a time long gone. I use the paper from my notebook as a white handkerchief to wave at soldiers in the shape of refuse collectors, moving solemnly through the streets. I am left inside alone and nobody can hear me. Is all lost? Is all hope gone? Is this our worst nightmare? Is this the new plague Dwight asked for in season 3, episode 15 of The Office? In season 3, episode 16 of The Office, there's a bat, so maybe we're stuck living in the aftermath of that. In my isolation, I've watched season 3 of The Office approximately 4.5 times, and none of those times have you been here to watch it with me. In these times, I wonder what the shape of your naked spine would look like when you laughed. Your face illuminated by the TV glare when Kevin spills the chili. I am so alone now, my face is the only one illuminated by office politics. We are so lonely now, office politics feels like a remnant of a bygone era. I am so lonely now, when Jim and Pam hug, my heart skips a beat. So let bygones be bygones. Every time I try to write, your face comes into view like an eclipse of the sun, and I try not to look directly at it. I don't think all art comes from misery, but you're making art pour out of me like the blood from 1,000 cartoon bats who have feasted for too long to transform themselves back into vampires. There are not enough distractions in this house to act as factor 50 and stop me getting burnt by the thought of you. The last time I touched you is hot and sticky on my neck. Now on footpaths, I am distracted by the chalk outlines of bodies pushed apart. It's a crime to be together, it used to be apart. I wonder if you are watching season 3 of The Office. I wonder if you are staring out of your window at people jogging. I wonder if the sunlight's hitting you now. I wonder if you're listening to Radio 6, wishing they hadn't messed with the structure because you'd rather hear Marianne and Sean Keatley in your hours and hours of lonely need. I wonder if you're lonely. I wonder if you're alone. I wonder if you are tweeting smug tweets about lovers meeting in secret on unlit country roads at midnight. I wonder if you are tweeting about politics, and if you will print these tweets out and stick them to your jacket like a badge of honor to prove that you are a good citizen. I wonder if you would, to prove that you were worthy, you would push lovers into the road with a broomstick so as not to touch their contaminated person and make them undertake a walk of shame. I wonder if you would drag them behind you for an hour of allotted exercise. I wonder if you would have called the authorities on them. I wonder if you would call the authorities on me if I walked miles to meet you and give you a carrot cake for your birthday. I wonder if you'd shoot me handsomely for the blasphemy of it. I think maybe this is a pain epiphany, brought up from the Heartbreak Library, situated right next to the Heartbreak Hotel for your convenience. Still, I am hopeful love will endure, past these broken times. And I wonder if after all this time, I'll have forgotten how to kiss you. If my tongue will have maintained enough muscle memory to move, will our lips be on edge? Will the streets erupt in an orgy of spontaneous snogging? And will our fingertips be too scared to meet each other in prayer? And that's that. Okay. Thanks, guys.
Thank you, Ella. That was really, really good. Really powerful.
Yeah,
according to the program coming up next, we've got a fundraising announcement. So who's in charge of that one?
Hello. I'm not exactly in charge of that part. But hello. Vanya, are you there? Vanya, are you still here? No. Maybe we can move on to the next artist first, and then I'll contact her to refresh us on the fundraising initiative. But, yes, thank you, Ella, for the poem. Beautiful poem. Beautiful poem. Simon, are you here? Simon here?
Pardon?
Simon, where is Simon? Yes, maybe we can move on to our next artist.
Yes, please.
Can you do it, Jay, please?
Should I do the announcement? Hello? Can you hear me?
Yes, yes. Yes, go, Jay.
Okay. Hello, everyone. Yes. First of all, maybe apologies because we might go over our projected time frame for this whole event with all the technicalities that happened beforehand. So apologies for that. And we hope that you're still with us and is getting the most out of this small community that we have at the moment. So next up is, once again, our dear friend and colleague, Bernard from Cadiz. And yeah, you heard him earlier, and I think you have some information about this wonderful person. But Bernard, maybe you can tell more about yourself before we delve into your work.
Okay, thank you, Jay. Is there much to say? Well, I'm Bernard. I'm Cameroonian. I study in Leuven. I'm interested in the way Africans or members of the African diaspora experience their realities in Europe. So basically, that's me. Poetry, I'm just as old as you know, just a couple of months, and it's really rich. So I'd like to seize this opportunity to thank the initiators, that is Jay, Lovey, now Simon and Ali for this. Your touching lives in your own way, so keep up. And today I'm going to talk about pandemics in threefold, because pandemics now, we are having a global pandemic in which all of us are into, but equally we have individual pandemics and we have community pandemics. So first of all, as an individual, I have my own dark corners. So I'm going to begin by talking about my tears. And I guess we all have tears, and maybe during this entitled My Tears, I read. Within me, I cry. In the secrecy of my aloneness, I lament. Down on my knees without a prayer, bones wrinkled by my dark corners, fear and pain resurrected like Christ, an avalanche of emotions squashing my innermost being, pushed to the wall by unarmed sentiments, defenseless against life trajectories, bewildered by unplanned conjunctures, mocked by uncertainty, exposed to precarity, left without an option. In the absence of hope, despair becomes a sparring partner. My tears begin to pop out and cry. That was the first poem. I'm going to move now to the second poem. I was in the bus and I was looking at trees. I saw the way, no matter what was happening, so I used it as a source of inspiration. So I write like a tree. Like a tree, keep standing despite all odds. Like a tree, don't be stirred by their stares or dazed by their gossips. Like a tree, wait patiently for summer when your leaves wilt during winter, but freely shade all passerbys. Like a tree, be eye-catching to your surrounding. Filter it, freeing a calming breeze. Like a tree, provide solace, be refreshing. Still like a tree, freely with the wind. Let your leaves oscillate as it blows. Don't be too unbending, but stretch your branches, always stemming from the stem. Yes, like a tree, respect the seasons. Let rain not discourage you. Let sun not burn you out. Let winter not freeze you. Let COVID not convict you. Be tranquil, be serene, be like a tree. That was that. And then if you notice, the last lines were, let COVID not convict you. Because living in these times of COVID, the new realities could make us really get imprisoned. But the fact that we stay in closed doors doesn't mean we are in. COVID can't convict. COVID cannot convict. We refuse to be prisoners. Like a messenger of gloom from the insane dungeons of hell, you sprout your evil tentacles. A negative wind hovering across the air, day by day, you encircle us. Between our bodies and buildings, you stand deadly, merciless to our grannies, so you confine and quarantine us, suppress, repress, and oppress our dreams. This is grounding. But we are not convicts. We shall overcome. We will not be grounded. Your silent waves will not shut us down. They will instead electrify us, ignite our hopes as we face you. A messenger of change, loaded in uncertainty. We hold on, knowing there is life ahead and after you. Like a season, you have come. We might clothe ourselves with social distance. It's just the vibes of this season. But like all seasons, it will pass. We will become history. We will be free from COVID. That was it. Now, after this poem, I want to recite a poem which is really close to me. My friends and I always go out on Fridays to have fun and drink. So on this specific day, we went to the bar, and because we were people of color, mostly black, were not allowed to enter. And the experience really made me feel bad because there are things you hear of, but when you get to experience them, then you really feel degraded it is. But equally, the poem has a context from African and all, but that is like the main drive behind the poem. So the poem is entitled, "You Are Not Racist, You Are White." In a society without spaciousness and value, you come with modernity. Like Imam Mahdi, you come with harmony and development. I am poor and miserable. You've been so good to me. You are not racist, you are white. It is not your fault that I am a colossus. You are not to be held accountable if behind my palisades we all give accolades to perpetual and despotic leaders. This is not your burden. Yet charitably you opened your doors of integration to me. How could you possibly be racist? Why should I be judged by the content of my character when in my subjectivity I have no sense of somebodyness? Who dares charge you of racism when out of the blackest part of my soul, all I desire is to become like you, even for a day, a glimpse of your innocence, white innocence. But still I contemplate, why don't you sit by me in the bars or listen while I groan? You scan and stop me at the gate. I stand, I wait, but my color mixed with coal. I can't get in. I am black. When I give you my raw materials, I even sold my people to you. Why they toiled in your plantations, really lynched for working hard and for free. Never mind, I still get it. You are just white. You are the race, the superior one. I am a counter race, the sub one. Can't raise my head for slavery, apartheid, colonialism have mortified me. I see the rationale behind your demagogy. You make the rules that I must obey. First, you are not racist. You are white. That is my personal pandemic, a personal tragedy. I am Black and African from Cameroon, and in my context, the fatherly figure is like they will ask you to be a man. So the father is very unfortunately grew up without my dad. My dad for some few minutes, so I don't really know him. So it's been challenging at times to be representative of this African man, let's say, because I haven't one. So I came up with this poem, Show Me a Man. How do a man when no one? Man do I become when I try to copy from all men out there? How can I talk like a man voice? Why the voice that echoes in my head is repeatedly that of a woman? I reject myself without a choice because rejection fell upon me like a birthright. But like Esau, I am ready to sell it for free, but nobody's willing to buy because recognition is a priceless gift which dad never gave me. So I'm shattered. I wax and wane. Rejection sensitive dysphoria. Who is to prove? Who is fighting natural? Why dad? Why? Why didn't you show me a man, even for a day? But I guess these words are my last tears. I no more. I will show myself a man, a talisman, and I will encounter the most important person in the world, me. That was it. And equally, I was going to an Asian, I don't know if she's Filipino, married to black. Find black Asians very often. It's not really very common. So it was really beautiful. I love the diversity. So I wrote this poem entitled Diversity. Diversity. Different colors, one people. Different eyes, same spectacle. Different noses, same smell. Mouth, big or small, same purpose. Different hair texture, all placed on the head. Different foreheads, all carried by neck. Different minds, all reasoning. Different babies, all family. Different legs, above ground level. Different smiles, all expressed, all in search of happiness. Different nationalities, one race. Same tears for different reasons. Male or female, all human. Black, white, brown, or yellow. We are different, we are the same. We are differently the same and similarly different. Diversity is not a nuisance. It is mankind's greatest plus, the future. That was diversity. And then back to COVID. A couple of days ago, still on Facebook, I saw like a picture where someone drew an insect and turned it COVID, and the whole world was like trying to attack that insect. So I said to myself, what if COVID was actually something visible? What if COVID was a man that we could see, that we could attack? What would I have done? So the poem is entitled, I wish you were a man. I wish you were visible, standing before me, big or armed. I would have disarmed and made you small, injected my anger into you, infecting you with obliteration. I wish you were not a coward. I would have marched towards you, snatching life out of you before you take more lives. I wish you were palpable. I would have damaged you with my rage, bound you to a cage, fed you with grenades, and deposited your wreckage in an abyss, a hollow of no return. I wish you were a man. I would have summoned other men, rallied a battalion of lions, and even armed child soldiers in synergy with energy, torn you apart and tuck your remnants in the evil forest, for you are malevolent, deserving violence, if you were a man, if only you were a man. But we are doing time.
Do you still maybe one more poem?
Lovey,
Hello?
do I still have, how much time do I have for me?
Can you hear me?
Yes. How much time do I have, Jay?
Maybe
Yes, I can hear you, Jay.
yes. Maybe one more poem.
Okay.
Yes.
It's still up. This one is still on COVID. It's entitled "Where Do We Go From Here?" Because I was sitting in my room and studying. I was like, even if COVID stops today, what what kind of world do we inherit? Where do we go from here? Can you laugh with a mask without masking your smile? How do we hold hands without a handshake or without coming together? How? What becomes of solidarity in solitary? Utility is the song when it doesn't. All said, it's sad. When I'm burning without fire, when my fire ceases to burn, can one free without freedom or liberate without liberty? Tell me, where do I go for oasis without a desert? An island without water? A people without a community? Or breast milk without babies? All these queries, ironies, plague me, cut into two, dashed in the in-between. Can't find itself. Can you guide me? Tell me where to go from here. That was it. That was my own for listening.
Thank you very much, Bernard. It was yes. Thank you for sharing those pieces with us. It was very interesting how you framed it in a way that you seem to be talking in different thematics like COVID and then your own personal experiences, but in the end, everything is intertwined. I mean, at least from
Everything is
your work we're showing. So thank you for sharing with us those very delicate, I would say, life experiences. And yeah.
Yes, thank you. Okay. Next, guys, is someone from Italy. Thank you, Fabio, for waiting. So Fabio is a filmmaker. What are you again? Former rock star, a travel enthusiast, and the founder of Wow Tapes, which is a video production company, which has won awards all over the world. Maybe Fabio, you can tell more about yourself.
Hey, ciao everybody.
Ciao.
So yeah, I'm Fabio. I'm a film director and a photographer. And first of all, thank you, Lovey, for bringing me in. And so basically, long story short, I have a short film, and it's about the quarantine. Well, surprise. And basically, when the whole thing started here, it started very violently, as you might have heard on the news or on the web. And in the past years, I was basically traveling a lot because of my job. And I had a lot of things lined up as well. And so yeah, basically I was super happy, and I was like, okay, so I made it. Things are working out. I'm traveling as a job. And when the lockdown started, I found myself stuck at my mother's house, which was the only place where I wouldn't have wanted to spend this lockdown. And so yeah, I made a movie about it. So most of the stories there.
Yes, okay. I'm gonna share my my screen so that all you guys can watch it. Wait, how do I do this? Okay. Screen. Share. Okay. Oops. It's taking so long, guys. Wait, let me refresh it. Okay.
Lovey, there's no sound. Lovey, we can't hear any sound.
Really? Okay, sorry. Sorry, guys, for the technical difficulty. Wait. Can you... Is there anything now? No.
For most of my life, its obscure comfort held me inside.
Is there any sound now?
Yes.
Okay.
Can
Sorry.
we restart it? Yes.
I was muted, so...
Thank you.
Enjoy, guys.
It all started in a dusty old family house. Almost no light, not many windows, just one door out. For most of my life, its obscure comfort held me inside. I grew up seeking more, but it took all my courage to venture out. I watched the familiar fading away into an impulse to chase lights and freedom. My instinct guided me, and it took me everywhere. It unraveled into something of an obsession, so fulfilling and grand and beautiful, so big that it left me breathless, so much to see, so little time to do it. Colors, dusk, light, blending together into something that would become my new home, where imagination and feelings matter, and time doesn't. Time got me back to the dusty old house, so profoundly that I found myself stuck in it, deprived of the lifeblood that makes me feel alive. I obsessively started going through everything that I had left behind and lost, and found memories. I thought they were leading me somewhere, to a different kind of destination, hopefully out of the stillness. That's when the world around me spiraled to a new perspective. Pure disorientation when falling, floating, flying through the darkness. Colors found me again, a whole universe that was once mine, and in this dusty old house, I rediscovered home, where adrenaline and adventure don't really matter, and time does. Time has finally given me answers. Answers to what I felt and knew I lacked. Not light, not wonder, but balance. The outdoors will beckon again. But now so will my dusty old house. And I will return to seek beauty, inside and out.
That was amazing.
Thanks, everybody.
Thank you, Fabio. Thank you for your time.
Lagging a lot on my screen. I hope you guys had better connection than mine and you were able to watch it properly.
Yes, I think we did.
Okay.
Thank you. I know you have to shoot now and go make another film.
Yeah, like half an hour, I'll make it.
But thank you, Fabio. I didn't know you were so poetic, though. By the way, Fabio wrote also. Did you? Yes, you wrote it, right?
Well, I got it proofreaded, but yeah,
Yeah.
proofread.
Anyway, thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye, guys.
Bye-bye. Thank you. Okay. Next, yes, Jay. It's Nerisa's turn, I guess.
Okay?
Yes.
Yes. You're still sharing your screen,
Sorry.
I think. Yes. But anyways, while you are distracted with Lovey's screen, I would like to move forward with our next artist. So from France, we'll fly back to Southeast Asia, where it's, I think, 12 o'clock midnight already, 12:01, I suppose. Yes. So our next artist is Nerisa. And Nerisa is a poet, performance artist, a published writer who loves going into slam poetry spaces when she travels. Her performance art pieces uh, are currently in the archives of the Live Art Digital Agency in London. And she has done art for performance art pieces for Grace Exhibition Space in Brooklyn, New York, and also Lapsody International Festival in 2009 at the Theatre Academy in Helsinki, where we finally met. And I have been hearing about Nerisa and her works from another friend, so it was very interesting and heartwarming meeting her in flesh, in Unod. Yes, and I'm very happy to have her here because since then I have been following her works because she's very generous with her works that she constantly posts it in her Facebook newsfeed, and it always feels enriching and inspiring how one can be very sensitive but at the same time very generous about her work. So yeah, I mean, Not to mention that she's also a Palanca awardee for literature and poetry. But I mean, before she goes into her work, maybe Nerisa can tell more about herself. So a warm welcome for Nerisa.
Hello, everybody. Um, it's wonderful to be here. Can you guys hear me? Am
Yes.
I okay?
Yes.
Wonderful. Thank you for the invitation, and I've been really grateful for for Jay connecting with me again. There's just this energy that um, like even if we are confined in our spaces and in our countries, when it comes to art we come together, and just like water finds its level and also how it fills the cracks, um, here we are, and I've been really enjoying the work. So I'm a professor from university here, the University of Santo Tomas, and um, I've already been introduced, but I was asked to talk about um, uh, my experience with the pandemic here. So, um, for someone who does performance art, and for someone that moves and travels, this is a very uh, different experience of actually being confined in spaces dictated by someone else other than um, myself and my own body and my own mind and my own heart. I want to share to you certain poems about natural disasters. They're not necessarily pandemic poems, but I hope you like them. This first poem is called Chicken Little. I think you guys are familiar with the fairy tale, and I did my take on it. Jay and I are from the Visayas, and I really wanted to share the Philippines and the atmosphere of the Philippines back to Jay. So here it is. Chicken Little. Shelter is one's hands over one's head, the rain seeping through everything. What changes the landscape of our lives? Invisible things in the air can kill. There are chasms where once stood hills. What crumbles to dust, aside from the limestone rubble of a church that stood by a tree? Everything. It is no light matter to be disowned by the very ground that held you up. It is no light matter the ground, the trees, the ocean froth. It is no light matter the cliffs, the highway, the clouds over the sugarcane fields. It is no light matter the shrimp jumping in the fisheries, their golden sheen on the brown water. It is no light matter the plaza, the cathedral on the tip of its tongue, Buang swimming naked in the fountain, dreaming of God. It is no light matter the hot springs in Mambukal and their sulfur ghosts. It is no light matter the waterfalls and their eternal freshwater longing. It is no light matter the light of salt on the breeze blowing into everything, and it stays shimmering as you know it. It is no light matter the house, the pelota courts, mother in her white skirt, mother of one and one to come, not too old, not too young. It is no light matter Yaya speaking in tongues, and the aswang sitting on the coconut tree in the front garden grinning. It is no light matter love and grief. It is no light matter the way the blue sky remains blue while the birds are flying, and then the ground gives up on the world, groans, gives up, shifts to its side, like a father that does not want to be bothered in his sleep, not even by a small hand with a fleshy flower from the yard. Father, do not turn your back on me. Wake up. The sky is falling, little chick. The sky is falling. Thank you. So, thank you. That was my first poem, Chicken Little. There was a game that my sister and I played when we were younger, and it's a pretty morbid game. It's called Coffin Coffin. So everybody knows what the coffin is, and I I wanted to bring it up also during the season of, I don't know what to call it. Is it a season? Is it a time? Is it a duration? Is it a space? This pandemic where we are all in, because something that you learn as a child in a game, when you confront it, the nearness of it to you, and how invisible it is, it makes me remember this one game when we didn't know what death was. Coffin Coffin. Sister pushes a stuffed elephant into the dark to ward off disaster. The wind howls blue through the jalousies and turns the room into a flute. Sister sits pink in her fear, and I embrace her with mine. What is love? What is the red mouth of disaster? I invented this game to wish you gone. We parted the beds, and I told you to lie still. I covered you up with pillows, then smoothened the blanket on your grave. I prayed for your peace, for the angels to take you to heaven, for God to give you chocolates. You giggled as I prayed. I said, the dead do not giggle. You popped out, none the worse for wear, and I took your place. Under the pillow soil, the world is muffled into a cottony peace. I lay stiff and serious, the way I had seen the dead lie among the flowers. I held my breath as long as I could. Thank you. These are, the next is titled Natural Disasters, and divided into very short lines of 5 parts. And I just wanted the air to flow through them. Also, I'm more conscious about the way I cut my lines because of probably the appearance of this gesture or action called uh, physical distancing or social distancing. I don't know which term is being used in your country. And so I'm letting the lines breathe. Natural disasters. 1. A wall of wind from across the globe. How does it begin? The origin of doom. Butterfly wing, gathered from a stream. Fin of careless fish. God. 2. A typhoon is churning out there. Today is stunning with its long sunlight lashes. Grief feels like this all the time. Typhoon in the distance, this city in perfect summer. What is destruction? There. There. Three. Out there, something is happening. Sailing over the wind. The quiet has a shimmer. Four. The open sea is a gateway between heaven and earth. Five. What did the beach look like when love ended? Were the plates still on the table? Thank you. That was natural disasters. Um, this next poem is a memory from childhood, and it was because when we talk about destruction, we also talk about creation, origins, or you feel like the seed of something that you are, and this poem is about my moment of queering. And in my country, there is still a lot of there's a homophobia that exists, and maybe in your countries too. And this poem is performing that somehow, or the wanting to be part of a community that was considered better. So this is Negros. This night was all about avoidance. Well dressed, she pressed close against corridors, scared of the heights of feeling and desire. The doors were pushed open slightly. The boys, over perfumed collars, jutted out like spikes and made her nose itch. Daddy was always right, always right, always right. So she kept her eyes on her shoes. Her lips were cracked like dry rivers, stitching tight the tongue she held back as she took off the pastel pink heels, her very first pair. Aren't you glad you didn't eat or drink anything at the party? Spanish fly, that's the new things boys use to have their way. They crush them and scatter them on everything. We freed ourselves from the Spanish but never got rid of their flies. Daddy slid the car key softly into the silver plate by the door. The long drive home was over. It was 10 p.m., just in time for the late news. She could hear bright laughter in the field. Lisa paired off with Anne, small hands slapping small thighs, small hands smarting with another set of small hands. Peas porridge hot, peas porridge cold, peas porridge in the pot 9 days old. Faster, 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 faster. The pleasure is in faster. Thank you. I have one poem in honor of the birthday of our national artist in literature, uh, her name is Edith Tiempo, and it was her birthday a week ago, and I queered her poem called Bonsai. I'm going to read her poem first, and I'm going to read my expansion next, which is called Psi XY. So, Mommy Edith's poem first. Jay and I, we know Mommy Edith. We respect her. She is our mentor in some way. She's being taught in our schools, and having the pleasure to meet her. Um, uh, we try our best to remember her and keep her. So this is her poem Bonsai. It's a short one. Bonsai. All that I love, I fold over once and once again and keep in a box or a slit in a hollow post or in my shoe. All that I love, why yes, but for a moment and for all time, both. Something that folds and keeps easy. Son's note or dad's one gaudy tie. A roto picture of a young queen. A blue Indian shawl even. Keening on the banister without a money bill. It is utter sublimation, a feat, this heart's control, moment to moment, to scale all love down to a cupped hand size, till seashells are broken pieces from God's own bright teeth. All love and life are real, things you can run and breathless hand over to the merest child. This is my expansion. It's called Psi XY. It's a queering. All that I love, the candle, the table, the chair where I sit, the lover in front of me saying she is not what she thinks she is. She looks through the window where the sidewalk flits beside cat-like. I sit cat-like, still in her perception, something other than myself in this dress. I fold over once, bend, revealing a cleave, lace, catching her eye, drifting into the seeming, never ending dance of wills and frills. She grins like a Cheshire cat. I refer to the book, the tale, the rabbit hole where I have fallen. Oh, Alice, Alice, how could you? And once again, bend to the swift changing moods of her thighs. A sigh that is not what bothers me. The window has a sill. Hold on. And keep in a box the cotton smell of her, the lost way. The touch of her hands, the words taken from me, my place. Or a slit in a hollow post, iridescent wings. Or in my shoe, my escape. All that I love? The question mark is a turn in the river where close by a bench holds its place. Why, yes, for the moment, caught in a sunset long coming at 8 p.m. How does one hold a smile? And for all time, both. The shimmer of a city will be left on our skin, the colors dictated by time of day or night, the season. Maybe the wind will pass between us, a few or many words. It is too early to tell. Something that folds and keeps easy. Your pants neat by the bed, your shirt not as neat, crumpled like a peony. Son's gaudy note and dad's one gaudy tie. You once told me about your father and how you were like a son killing the chickens by wringing their necks. But your dress got in the way of so much what was needed for you to be, what you always thought you were. A roto picture of a young queen sits on your dresser table, placed by your mother to emulate, to impale yourself on, to become but you scratched between your legs an itch, a budding, not flower, something else. A blue Indian shawl even, keening on the banister without the smooth olive shoulders of that woman you watched over and over, passing through your wet childhood dreams, haunting you still. A money bill left in your father's pants pocket, enough for sweets. You fished out as the soap ran white over the cold small rapids of the river, where you rubbed your father's pants on the stones and your thighs, wanting to fit in them greater than all longing. It is utter sublimation, how in the dark one can be anyone or anything, eyes closed. You are the man between my thighs, between whatever passes as love. You push, hungry and unyielding. A feat this heart's control. Hold, there, again, hold. Moment to moment, what cannot be yields to something more primal. Gaslights flicker under the light of the moon, squid hunting, while we stay on the shore in the dark, holding hands as the moon shines full. We do not look like lovers, merely sister shadows, leaning against each other, waiting for the squid to scale all love down. The squid hunters wade to shore with their catch. It is this memory you pretend to be invisible, a god, not a goddess, holding the nets, offering the catch to the world, to a cup hand size. This is the blood of my son I have given up to the world. This is the blood of my son I have given up to the world. Blood flows between your thighs, a river you never liked, a valley you wished was mountain. Till seashells are broken pieces. In daylight, the shore is strewn with and glimmers incessantly. We could almost be brave. Hip to hip, the easy laughter in your eyes, from God's own bright teeth. Even the smallest of affections is divine, though broken. All life and love are real. I grow smaller with your disbelief, enough to fit things you can run, turn over, flip like a coin, breathless hand over my life back. To the merest child, I say, watch yourself change. Thank you.
Thank you. Hello? Yes, thank you very much,
Hi,
Nerisa,
Jay.
for hi, Nerisa, thank you very much for sharing your work and for sharing your time as well. We know this is an holy hour in the Philippines, but you're still
Yeah.
up, and we really appreciate your presence in this event. Even it was very interesting to see or to hear from your perspective, like the experience of disaster from exoskeleton level to the internal skeletal system. It's quite amazing, I would say. Thank you so much.
Thank
Yes.
you.
Okay. Whew. Wow, a lot of emotions happening, but we have to move forward with our program. And we are moving on to our next artist, which is uh, also a very good friend of mine. His name is Antonín Brinda, and unfortunately, he can't be here with us tonight. So he just sent us over his work and asked us to read a bit about himself and about the work. So Antonín Brinda is a Czech artist based in Europe who works primarily in the fields of performance and urban art. His other favorite forms of work includes walking, body, site-specific, and long-durational art. Antonin currently explores topics such as global traveling, urbanism, public transportation, as well as ways of sharing personal and intimate stories. And apart from being an artist, Antonín is also an organizer, curator himself, very busy person. He's always everywhere. And he is constantly asking how to make love with a city. So for this volume of Unod, Antonín sent over a video piece, a performance piece in video, which he called Elbe. So Elbe was performed during the outside in, inside out in, inside outside in Performance Festival 2019 at Torhaus in Wehlen, a small village in Germany. So it was part of a 1 week residency and then 2 days of events and performances. So it was about the Elbe River, the biggest river in Czech Republic, which is also connected with Germany. So it crosses the Czech and Czechia and German borders. And in this work, he furthers his interest in urban phenomenon, is also a reflection meditation and a reaction to the place where he was into. So before I share my screen, for the sake of our future audiences, this is more of a disclaimer actually. Not all of us are comfortable with showing intimate parts of our body. So in the future, if you're sitting with your child or with children or with somebody who feels uncomfortable with seeing other people's bodies, please explain that this is art, and this could also be a possibility of, you know, taking away that shameful gaze towards bodies. So yes, I'm going to share my screen right now. Entire screen, yes, please. And can everybody still hear me well? Good, yes. Can you see my screen now? Yes. So we will dive in. So once again, Antonín Brinda in his piece, Elbe. Yes. So that was Antonin's LB piece.
Is there any interpretation of the elder piece?
Yeah, and also he wants to how do you call this? Inform everyone that outside in, inside out, in, inside out, outside in. Does seasonal open calls, so you can check their Facebook page from time to time, and if you're interested, you can feel free to send applications. Yes.
Okay. Yay. Okay.
We made it.
Yes.
And yes, Anthony was actually the last one in our program.
A big thank you to all the participants and to the audience who stuck together for almost 4 hours.
Yes, thank you
You're
very
really
much.
patient. You have a star in patience, so thank you.
Thanks all for attending and for being so perseverant.
And
it was our pleasure to guide a session, and we never thought that it would be so smooth that we would pull it off like this. So everyone, thanks for attending, and big shout out. Keep on the creative spirits. Hopefully we'll have like a volume 3, but outside of the pandemic, or else I see you guys in 2024.
Unless there's any open mic participants.
Yes, I mean, maybe anyone would still. To go on for another 4 hours.
But seriously, I mean, of course, we don't want to forget that we are supporting a fundraiser.
Yes.
And our fundraiser is accessible via the link that they shared in our Facebook page. So please check them out, and your small donations can help a lot of people.
Yes, it's actually in Filipino, but maybe
Google Translate.
Yes, and maybe if you don't understand and if you still want to donate, maybe just contact any of us, Jay, Ali, or Simon, or me, and then we can get you to the actual person who is organizing this initiative.
Yes.
Yes, thank you guys for
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you, everyone.
For
Yes.
your patience, for your love.
And for sharing your work with us.
And for your interpretations of pandemic.
Yes. Thank you for the work by the artists. And of course, if you're willing to collaborate with each other, you can always contact us, and we can, share informations with each other, like how to reach, like email addresses, for example, and for future collaborations, because everything is possible these days.
Yes. And also the recording of this, maybe we'll share it after.
Yes.
Yeah, we can edit the beginning.
Another 4 hours. I'm sorry for the technical difficulties. It's inevitable anyway, but
it's okay. We'll learn from it.
Yes. So thank you. Stay safe, everyone.
Bye, organizers. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, guys.
Stay safe.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye-bye. Thank you.
Bye.
Bye, everyone.
Bye.